All right, so with everything going on, I wanted to do a quick video based on opinions, right? Because like right now, you seem to have the most opinionated world ever between COVID vaccinations and fucking Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency, training, finances in general. Everyone's just so opinionated, and opinions are interesting, right? Because I'll give you a backstory. I used to have a real bad superiority complex because growing up, I used to hang around with people who were heaps cooler than me, and I just never felt like I was good enough. So I used to fake it until I made it. Right? I used to tell myself I used to be really be really over self confident to try and balance out the self confidence issues I had. Right? I didn't really believe it, but I thought if I tell myself enough, and they came across arrogant, definitely did. Um, But what I found was I created this superiority complex because I was good at everything I did. I really was. I was good at everything I did and I ran the confidence with it. And even these people that I thought were cooler than me, whenever I did something that they were good at, I was better at it than them. And it just kept happening my whole life through career, through sport, through everything, right? Fighting, everything. I just was better. I just could do better than everyone that I was around that I thought was better than me. And it really fucked me up. Like gave me this real bad ego and superiority complex. And what that made me then turn into was this opinionated person where only my opinion matters. And I didn't care what it was. I would think someone would make an opinion and go, no, you're wrong. Because I know that if I had a crack at this, I'm probably better than you. So my gut instinct's right. Fucking toxic as fuck, right? But that's what it was, right? It's taken me years of therapy to figure this shit out, but that's what it was. What I also found, because of people watching this thinking, you're still like that, that's what I want you to think, Jumpion, is what I found was by being opinionated, it allows you to draw other people's opinions out, right? So there's two type of people. You can go along with their opinion and they'll keep rattling off more. Or you can challenge their opinion and they'll push their opinion harder just to be correct, right? So now, with everyone that I really deal with, and there'll be people watching this, they'll go, this motherfucker, this is what it is. Transparency, baby. I don't really have an opinion on anything anymore. Like, I have my own opinion, I keep to myself. But if you hear me make an opinion, 9 out of 10 times, I'm doing it to gauge your opinion, right? I'm doing it to see what you really are like, you know? I do it when I um, go and get professional help. Like I go to my chiro, go to a barber, get to a masseuse, right? I do it then. I'll just either rattle along with their opinion or object to their opinion to see which, depending on what kind of personality they are, and just understanding. And the reason I do this is to find more out about people. It's part of my questioning processes kind of thing that I work on with work. But I don't give a fuck about anyone's opinion. I couldn't care less. If we had polar opposite opinions on something, doesn't bother me. And this is where the world's fucked up. People think your opinion is different to mine, so fuck you, I hate you, and all this shit. What you need to focus on, and this is what fixed my superiority complex, was that focus on the process you and others get to create your opinion. That's what matters, right? You know, in school, when we used to do a mathematical equation, and the teacher would say, make sure you show your working. The working was more important than the answer, right? Because one of two things, you can fluke an answer and be correct, but not actually know how to get there. And this is a great example with cryptocurrency traders. They fluke the result and they just think that their process works, even though they don't have one, right? And then that's a really dangerous habit to create because you keep repeating that until eventually you will go broke. Or you've got the other way. They create an opinion because they're too lazy to do the process or too lazy to do the research, and they just stick to their guns and hope that their ego or their arrogance or their staunchness will win against the other person, right? And a lot of the times it does. So I do this thing where I will roll along with someone's opinion to try and figure out how they track towards their opinion. And not a lot of people do know this, right? If anyone who's watching this knows that that's what I do, knows that I like to understand the process of someone's opinion more than the opinion, then you know you're probably pretty close to me because I've talked to you about it. But That's what you should start focusing on within yourself and people around you. Stop focusing on people's opinions that because they could have got that from TikTok. And you'll notice what a lot of people will do is they'll give you an opinion and then they'll make up research because it sounds good. They say, "Oh, I read this study," right? "Oh, I think this. Have you heard? I read this study." Or "Did you hear what this person said?" Because they probably know you're not going to go look it up. If you do, you'll probably find out they just made it up. Or "This person said," "Oh, I read this doctor said," right? And they won't drop a resource. "I read this doctor said this thing," and they'll back up just what they think by saying that, hoping that that's enough to convince you that their opinion's right. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the time, what they're saying is extremely common sense. It sounds like, oh yeah, that makes sense, but it might be wrong, right? But they back themselves because they think, oh, that sounds good if I say that. And sometimes they convince themselves that's the way, but that's what you need to do. You need to separate opinions from process because someone's opinion doesn't matter. Someone can have a different opinion to you, right? But if they got there through a really good process, you can respect that. You don't have to agree with the end result, but you can respect how they got there. What you can't respect are when someone has opinions with no substantial backing behind it, right? They haven't done the right work to get there. Yeah. And this comes about big time with my problem with the people on their COVID stance is people have an opinion, but the process the way they got to that opinion is fucking flawed, right? TikTok, Facebook, just resharing shit, not actually or only researching shit that agrees with their opinion, right? Like that's not the way to come to your outcome in anything, right? So like in training, in training, if someone was just to fucking, I don't know, jab heaps of gear, then this wouldn't happen, but jab heaps of gear, eat shit, and they were genetically gifted and they got shredded, the outcome doesn't matter to me. You might think so. On Instagram, on socials, you might look and go, wow, look at that. But looking at that process, I wouldn't respect that. Like you're a bitch, right? You're a bitch. Not because of the gear, but to come out there, especially if they get out there and then they sell products. This is how I got here, all this shit, right? You're a bitch. Your process is full of shit. Or, people who train and they say they look shredded, right? But they're weak as piss. They got no real functionality. Of this is what you should do. This works because I look like that. But show me the process you got there. Oh, I did this. Well, how did that achieve your goal? Like, how did that achieve my goal? Right? That process is flawed. So, summary of the video is start transitioning from your finances to your health to just the world in general, politics. Start removing yourself from your opinion and start attaching yourself to the process and the way you get to outcomes. Yeah. And base your opinion from that. That is what's important because if you can have a solid process that's respectable and makes sense, your opinion's invalid, right? Because that's just your interpretation of doing the right steps to get to the outcome. Yeah. Just a thought for you all, I think the world would be a better place if everyone stopped putting their opinions aside and not judging people based on their opinions and actually started assessing what process they're using, other people using to get there. It would make for a much cleaner argument and much better outcomes across the board. And it would just take stress away from you as a person, not trying to fight with everyone on something you don't really understand because you haven't gone through the process to understand either side of an argument. Anyway, I just thought that'd be a good video to do based on where the economy and the world is at the moment. Hopefully it helps a couple of people, maybe change your mindset and your thought process. Extremely good process to utilize in money and training, but I use it in my everyday life as well. And I feel like it has helped me tenfold, not only with myself, but to sort of understand who I'm around as well. Hopefully it helps. All right, that's it from me. Peace out.